2 miles to the southwest of Rattlesden village, the farmland near where we stand today was requisitioned in 1942 to build an airfield in support of the war effort. By May 1943, a sprawling bomber base had been constructed by George Wimpey & Co Limited, with the support of local contractors and 1,000 Irish labourers. The site covered 2.5 square miles with dispersed living sites to accommodate 3,000 personnel, built to the east of the aerodrome, and bomb stores nestled within Felsham and Thorpewood to the west. Upon completion, the airfield was assigned to the United States Army Air Force and designated as USAAF Station 126. In November 1943, the 447 Bombardment Group arrived from the United States of America in their Boeing B-17G Flying Fortress heavy bombers to make Rattlesden their wartime home. 62 aircraft with air crews had left Harvard, Nebraska, bound for England in the European Theatre of Operations. All flew the Northern Atlantic ferry route via Goose Bay, Newfoundland and Prestwick in Scotland. On the 16th of November, Colonel Hunter Harris Jr. was first to touch down at their new base at Rattlesden in Suffolk, England. 18 further air crews and the ground crew echelon set sail from New York to Greenock, Scotland, on board the Queen Elizabeth, arriving on the 29th of November. The 447th Bomb Group flew their first mission from Rattlesden on Christmas Eve 1943, starting a 16-month period of combat in strategic precision bombing operations. From December 1943 to May 1944, they helped to prepare for the invasion of the European continent by attacking submarine pens, naval installations and cities in Germany, ports and missile sites in France, and airfields and marshalling yards in France, Belgium and Germany. During Big Week, the 20th to the 25th of February 1944, they took part in the intensive campaign of heavy bombardment against the German aircraft industry. Before and during the invasion of Normandy in June 1944, they supported the Allied effort by bombing airfields and other targets near the beachhead, aided the breakthrough at St. Lo in July and the effort to take Brest in September. They pounded enemy positions to assist the airborne invasion of Holland in September and dropped supplies to the Free French forces. In October 1944, they turned to strategic targets in Germany, placing emphasis on sources of oil production until mid-December. During the Battle of the Bulge, December 1944 to January 1945, the group assaulted marshalling yards, railroad bridges and communication centres in the combat zone, then resumed operations against targets in Germany, attacking oil, transportation, communication and other objectives. And the 447th Bombardment Group flew their 258th and final mission on the 21st of April 1945. 7,605 individual aircraft sorties were flown from Rattlesden during the group's 16 months of combat operations. 17,103 tons of bombs were carried and dropped on enemy targets in the fight for the cause of freedom. But freedom is not free. 97 aircraft were lost to enemy action. 457 men paid the ultimate sacrifice in service with the group, and 541 men were captured as prisoners of war. I'm Chris French. I'm the historian and secretary for the 447 Bomb Group Association UK. So welcome to the 447th Bomb Group Heritage Gallery at Rattlesden Airfield in Suffolk. This was the original World War II control tower, where the 447 Bomb Group were based here at Rattlesden in World War II. So over here We have Cabinet 1, which basically tells about the joining of the American forces to World War II in England. A bit about the B-17 Flying Fortress that was based here, part of the bomb group. And then we have a little section down the bottom about the fighter groups that supported the bomber groups. This section here tells you a little bit about one of the airmen's perspectives of his joining up and coming over to England and where they lived on the base. And here is a model of what the base used to look like. We are here on the map. This is the control tower, and this was the airfield site, which covered 2.5 square miles. The aerodrome site was in the centre. The bomb and munition stores were over to the left, nestled in Felsham and Thorpe Wood. And over to the east was all the dispersed living sites where the airmen would live and where their communal areas were. So PX store, post office, baseball field, hospital was out here as well. They had everything they needed while they were here. Down here we have various models of the aircraft that was based here. This particular model is of an incident that happened on the 2nd of August 1944 when an aircraft came back from a mission and had hydraulic failure and careered off the runway and nearly hit the control tower. So that model is depicting that, and you can see the original pictures of that incident there. Over here we have the squadrons represented. The 447 bomb group was made up of 4 squadrons: the 708 squadron, 709 squadron, 710 squadron and 711 squadron. Each aircraft later in the war actually of each squadron were actually depicted by different colour engine cowlings. So the 708 were yellow, 709 were white, 710 were red and 711 were blue. This section here just shows you pictures of air crew and ground crew all around the base of the time, and tells the story from the pilot's perspective about the missions, how they would get ready in their uniform, how the ground crew would keep the flyboys flying, and the anticipation and build up for the mission ahead. All of this centre section of the room is basically dedicated to a bit of archaeology that we've done over the years. All of these pieces that you see in these 2 cabinets and the larger pieces on the walls were all discovered in the ground here at Rattlesden over the course of time, and now we've obviously brought it all together and made it part of the museum. Over here we've got a small section about all the reunions that have happened at Rattlesden over the years. Since 1984, every other year there's been American families come back. Obviously in the early days we were inundated with 70, 80, 90 veterans that used to fly out of here. The last veterans we had here were in 2019. Bill Hennessy and Dick Nelms. They were both pilots, and at the time they were 96 and 97 years old. They are both still surviving to this day. 102 years old they are now. This section here is basically about VE Day and the celebration of the end of the war, and there's various sort of historical documents in here that date back to the time. There's menus in there from Christmas parties, mess hall card, even the 447 bomb group phone directory that's got every single phone number of the base at the time. Here's some genuine escape kit items, silk maps, French francs, escape money. And down the bottom here, a little bit of a step away from 447, but Rattlesden was home to the Royal Air Force Bloodhound missiles during the early Cold War period. So that tells a little bit about what Rattlesden was used for after World War II. This last section in the corner over here is basically the Roll of Honour area. It tells you a lot of the tragic stories about the aircrew and aircraft that were lost There's the statistics here: 258 missions completed, 457 men died whilst serving with the group, 97 aircraft lost in action, and 541 men were captured as prisoners of war. Over here we have some genuine uniforms from that era. There's a flight jacket, what they called the Ike jacket, which was a cut down version of the dress jacket which we have down here. That's the formal officer's outfit. This little cabinet here is all about their R&R time and how they used to go to London, take their little suitcase like that one, go and have some time away from combat. This section here tells you about every single mission that the group flew in a narrative form. A lot of this has been assembled over the years from various different sources, but it's mainly down to veterans coming back, donating their kit and their sort of personal effects. And we've had historians over the years that have kept that assembled, and I'm the current historian that keeps making sure that everything is displayed and kept perfectly. And as I say, the result of that is this room now. So 2 to 3 years we've had this established, and it seems to be doing quite well. I think it's incredibly important to have this here because we can't forget the sacrifices that were made. This little sleepy corner of Suffolk was just one of the many airfields that were based here in World War II, or over here in World War II, and so much sacrifice was made by the young men that were here. So I think it's important that we keep their story told and carry on what they've done for all the years before us.